Got to do something about that.
Oh, what's that then?
Your level.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I wouldn't have heard it earlier. I plugged it all in, and of course I fell for the old oops, I didn't plug the headphones in trick again.
Yeah.
And had that momentary thought of, oh dear, it's not working. But it is now. I'm not, though.
Colin had a problem and a microphone to spare. Thomas took it up and so the podcast went to air. For weeks and months they trawled through every single DVD. They've unwrapped all the ones they can and now they're cellulose free. Now they're cellulose free.
Hello, dear listener, and welcome to Cellulose Free. My name is Colin, and with me, as always, is my fellow film watcher, compadre and son, Thomas.
Hi, hello.
What have you been up to?
I made a terrible mistake.
What mistake did you do?
So, last week, a couple of hours after we'd finished recording, I did up the artwork for the episode, and, I was thinking, I can do something, sort of an analogy that sort of ties in with the film.
Sorry, I had to cast my mind back to which episode it was last week, and yes.
And so what I'd written down was Thomas crashes and burns because, analogously, I had done so that last week.
Yeah.
An analogy that sort of doesn't feel quite as well timed when the day after the first fatal commercial airline crash in 16 years in the US occurs between an American Airlines aircraft and a Black Hawk helicopter over Washington DC.
Yeah.
At which point both go into the Potomac and nobody survives on either aircraft.
Yes. Timing was not good.
Yeah.
For last week's episode. It certainly wasn't intentional.
No.
Neither was any comments that retrospectively could possibly sound bad taste.
Yeah, no. If I had been thinking about it, I probably would have swapped out the artwork before things went out. But once the YouTube video has gone out, it's out there now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yes, apologies and condolences.
Indeed.
Not my intention.
No.
And I've not really been doing much else the rest of the week.
It's been pretty hot to do anything this week.
At this stage, Hobart is now past the heat wave. Everywhere else in Australia is not past the heat wave.
No. However, to end the heat wave, a very large electrical storm chuffed over the state and has caused a large number of fires, some of which all of them are very concerning, but some of them are going through areas of extreme biodiversity. Like, we're talking 3,000-year-old trees and, not good. Rare trees at that. The Huon pine, which is only found in Tasmania. There's large areas of fire going through where these rare plants naturally grow.
For some areas, this will be part of the natural cycle of renewal and regrowth, but for others...
Yeah, it's one of those awkward things in that this is nature, and certainly there are a large number of flora in Australia that actually needs a fire cycle on a regular basis to create regrowth. Huon pine is not that. And there's so few of them left that we don't want to lose the really, really old ones.
Pretty sure in some places in the US, a prior strategy of make sure that no fires happen anywhere ever has resulted in worse fires later down the track.
And that has certainly happened here as well.
Yeah.
The realisation that a low-intensity burn on a regular basis is actually beneficial on a number of levels. So, out of the heat wave, but I do really feel for our fire crews who have been fighting, a major blaze before this storm went through. And, not good.
You been up to anything else?
Just melting.
Yeah.
I cut my hair.
Uh-huh.
There we go. I have very little hair now. It's very short. And, I've been watching some 1970s British science fiction. And we're not talking Doctor Who.
No.
Some would say a Doctor Who spin-off, in that there's a large number of crew and writers that did the jump over to do a show called Blake 7. And it's certainly showing its age. They have recently come out with I consider it a quite sympathetically done rejig of some of the space special effects, done in such a way that it doesn't jump you out of the wobbly sets to really pristine CGI to back to wobbly sets type of thing. No, the effects rejigging has been done so that it feels still within context of it. But yeah, some of the stories are really good. Some of them are fairly average.
That sounds like Doctor Who.
Yeah. Well, it's Terry Nation is who created the Daleks, created this show. And it was unfortunate in that he was trying to, I guess, sell the idea to the BBC, and the BBC weren't interested, and then it got to a point where there was a very, very long-running crime show that they decided to cancel, and so they gave Terry Nation basically the budget of a crime show to make a science fiction show, and it shows that the budget is well and truly not substantial enough to pull it off, particularly as one would want. But it's still fun, it's still good. Probably the most glaring problem that I have found with it is the fight choreography. They like having biffo fights, and they're really, really clunky. And they also have guns that create bursts of sparks when they hit something, but they also create bursts of sparks as whatever supposedly is coming out of the gun. It's very much of its time. But yeah, Daniel and I have been sitting down and watching that on a regular basis during this week whilst we've been trying to stay cool. Other than that, nothing is jumping out at me. I would like to, at this point in time, give a warm shout out to the 0.6% of our Spotify listeners from Canada.
Right.
Hi, Canada. So, there we go.
Yeah. I'm either in between things that I could be watching and talking about, or I am in the middle of listening to a narrative podcast that ended some time ago and that I'm not yet ready to really talk about until I've finished it, so...
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we shall wait and see then.
Yeah.
However, we will not wait and see to see what we're watching this week, because let's talk about that now.
Yes.
What are we watching this week?
We are watching The Main Event. Specifically the one from the 1970s.
Yeah, 1979, starring Barbara Streisand and
Ryan
O'Neill, who, Daniel pointed out to me, plays Max in Bones. And he played that right up until he died. And yeah, that was cool. He played Bones's father. Anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
Please tell our dear listener what The Main Event is all about.
Can a penniless perfume magnate find happiness managing the career of a has-been prize fighter?
I don't know.
This screwball comedy answers that question. Pow! Right to the kisser.
Screwball comedy again.
Yep.
But a little longer this time.
Yes.
Which has Thomas nervous, I suspect.
It does worry me a little. Comedy, you need to get in and get out, or you will outstay your welcome.
Well, let's not outstay our welcome here. Thomas is going to take the disc out of its case. He's going to stick it into the DVD player, and we are going to watch it, and then we'll come back and talk about it. So, we shall catch you on the flip side.
Turn to side B, where you will find another night of WrestleMania, because apparently it's too big for one night now.
Right.
Yeah.
But isn't this boxing?
Yes, this is boxing.
It's not wrestling.
No.
Thomas, you jumped the shark there. Oh, hang on, that was shark jumping. I jumped the shark. Let's get on with this, you mongrel. So, what did you think?
It's not an especially funny film, is it?
It had its moments, but
Yeah.
no. and its main moment was very, very early on. It's the only note that I wrote, which was delivered by Barbara Streisand, who is quite famous for certain facial features, and she was playing a person who was particularly good at determining smells, and thus was in the perfume industry. And very early on in the film, and this is a spoiler, yes, she gets complimented on being able to identify a fragrance that is going to be a winner. And she said, "They don't call me the nose for nothing." And I thought that was very brave of her to take on board and run with some possibly unkind comments about her facial features. So I got a chuckle out of that, and I got chuckles throughout the film, but it certainly wasn't a "What's up, Doc?"
Yeah, more sharp breaths than laughs.
Yeah. And I confess that it wasn't helped by the fact that I have never been a fan of boxing. And the boxing scenes in this are fairly lengthy.
Yeah.
And very well filmed. And very well edited. And very convincing, I thought. No one was pulling any punches. It did not feel like anyone was pulling any punches in this. There was glove on face and glove in stomach type of thing. And it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I have certainly been involved in judo and taekwondo for very short periods of time, and I understood the appeal of that. I was never very good at it. But yes, there is a certain amount of pain involved, but it's tactical holding down for a period of time, pinning someone so that they can't move. That's probably the thing that I really didn't like most about it, because I just got really claustrophobic being pinned down. Really don't like being pinned down. But it's not beating the stuffing out of someone until they're unconscious. That it just does not make any sense to me. And so that did play a major role in how much I was enjoying the film. And the interspersion of comedy and boxing just, for me, didn't work. And the comedy that was in there, yeah, it was fairly weak. Really. I don't know. Am I being harsh?
Also, film's too long.
It was very, very long. There were whole segments that could have just been completely cut. And disturbingly, a lot of those were lengthy bits where they were really trying for sexist laughs. And, the cabin scene. I knew exactly what they were going for, and I can understand a certain mindset that would find that amusing, but yeah, it was a waste of time. So all of that could have gone. Fish out of water, sexist stereotype jokes, ha ha ha, this is very funny. So, I don't know.
I keep saying you gotta have a good reason to go beyond 90 minutes in a comedy movie, and it didn't.
No. Well, ripping that out would have got it closer.
Yeah, it still would have felt flabby.
Yeah, but then you're left with the conflict of it's a boxing film, but it's a comedy. So we trim one down to the detriment of the... it's just... Yeah. I thought it was average. I would have very little desire to ever watch it again, basically. Whereas, as far as What's Up, Doc is concerned, and maybe that's an unfair comparison, but I could happily watch that again this weekend. I'm not going to, but if one of the kids suddenly said, "Hey, I missed it the other night," I would sit down and watch it again. and I would probably laugh again and have a smile on my face again. But this, yeah, it was strained and, like my stomach. I had lapses of attention and the chemistry really wasn't there. Thanks for choosing that. I don't know what else to say about it. It's firmly stuck in 1970 and
it's firmly stuck on the shelf because it's in a slim box set.
Yeah. Now, what film was it that you felt like you'd had your 90 minutes taken from you?
Sully.
So, that's right.
Yeah.
But you didn't hate it either.
No, it was just there.
Yeah, I think what we watched today was My Sully. It wasn't a really bad film, but it wasn't a great film, and I don't need to watch it again.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you wish to say about?
No, that about sums it up.
It does. Wow, that was quick. It comes back to that our long episodes tend to be about films that we really didn't like and were really, really bad. And this wasn't...
Gotta have things to point to.
Yeah.
If there's nothing to say, we don't say a lot.
Yep. Dear listener, if you have something to say about the main event, please let us know. Anyway, I think we shall move on then.
The following segment has no title. Thank you.
We have 2 comments on Facebook, both from Helen.
Hi, Helen.
One on What's Up, Doc. Unfortunately, did not get it in before we recorded the episode as she had planned. In fact, we finished up very early for an episode recording, so, very, very poor luck in that respect.
Sorry about that. Well, not really.
But Helen says, about What's Up, Doc, have watched. It was amusing, although occasionally a bit too silly for my tastes. It was worth the $4.99 Amazon rental fee. Barbara Streisand is good, as was Madeline Kahn as Eunice.
Howard!
Sticking with Helen over on Facebook.
My goodness, she's written a novel.
Yes, on our episode about Sully. I am torn with my guess options this week. Spoiler alert, this entire comment is about her guess.
It is.
And the other comment that we have on YouTube from Dunkel.
Hi, Dunkel.
Is also just a guess.
Just a guess.
It is entirely a guess.
Just a guess. Dunkel, don't let him get you down, all right? I felt it was more than just a guess. Anyway.
Back over with Helen. I am torn with my guess options this week. Colin was offering strong hints for things like air splush, or wet plane, or Geo before sink. That's get out before we sink, which is how I imagine Colin's mind might have been working. Or I could go with my instincts, which propose things like Sullenberger, reason obvious, I hope, or Yatubhumov, yet another Tom Hanks being heroic movie, or Twatu Ho Hulb, Thomas wants 2 hours of his life back, but still, I hesitate. Perhaps Thomas's hint should be taken into account. Will I? Won't I? Perhaps I'll humour him as an early birthday favour and go with, I'm struggling to remember the hint. Sully?
Spelt S-U-L-Y, which is incorrect.
No,
hang
there
on.
are 2 L's there.
Sorry.
Which I can see, because for me, the text is perfectly sized.
Whereas for me, it's that size.
Well, that's what you get for reading off a phone. Look at it. It's fine. It's fine. I'm the one who has to read this aloud.
Sorry, everyone who's not watching the video podcast won't be getting this. So.
Earlier, this comment comes in, and I'm like, okay, I'll stick it in the document. The document takes a moment to load the changes that have been made to it, which is that Colin has already taken a screenshot of it on his phone. and pasted it into the document, which turns out the images pasted into a Google Doc from a phone or even a tablet, they're not very big. They're quite small, actually.
Whereas they look fine on the phone that you copy and paste them on. Whereas when you flip it the other way and it's been copy-pasted from a tablet and I'm trying to read it on the phone, it's absolutely tiny.
No, see, if I take a screenshot on my tablet and then paste it in, then it's also tiny.
Ah.
This is from... This particular screenshot that I've replaced your screenshot with is from my computer.
Oh, right, okay. All right. Whereas the one that I took from my phone was fine looking at it on my phone.
On your phone.
Yes.
But not on my tablet.
Anyway, we digress.
All of which is to say that Dunkel's comment just says Sully.
Spelled S-U-L-L-Y, because I can read that because it's my screenshot.
And which I can barely read because the screenshot is tiny. And apparently you're not allowed to resize images in a Google Doc if you're doing it on your phone.
No. Can't you do that?
Oh, I could zoom. I don't want to zoom. I want it to be at the right size already.
Anywho, so we've got two guesses of S-U-L-L-Y.
Which are both correct.
They are.
Yep.
Well done. There's some arbitrary points coming your way. We just hope they can get past the border. Anywho, well done everyone for those comments and guesses. Please, dear listeners, put your contributions in as to what this week's file name is.
Yes, that...
8 letters or numbers to make up the file name, or less. And this week's movie was the main event. And if you have any other comments, anything you wish to say.
Film suggestions.
Yeah.
If you live around these parts, how you've been dealing with this heat wave.
Your favourite ice cream flavour. Please.
Did you know that here in Australia we have worse summers because the Earth is closer to the sun during our summers?
I do know that.
Yeah.
Yep. Struggle and a battle from the womb to the tomb. Yeah. Anyway.
And then California is so dry that it gets huge wildfires in the middle of winter.
But there is no climate change.
Yeah.
Let's move on, shall we?
Pick a film for next week so we can go to bed.
Okay. Next week is my birthday, and it is your turn. What have you got lined up for me?
Boy, have I got a birthday present for you.
Yeah?
I do.
I think there's a watch buzzing over there.
Is there?
Yeah, possibly receiving notifications.
Oh, is it my watch? Or a watch
it's over there.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think my microphone is picking it up, or your microphone is picking it up. We shall see. Hang on, I just need to bring up what we're watching next week. I can't hear anything over the sound of my stomach. Oh.
Well, that's a different buzz.
Oh, that was mine.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So, next week, we are... Oh, be quiet, stomach. Watching a film made in 2001.
Okay.
It stars Nicole Kidman. Have we watched anything that has Nicole Kidman in it?
On the podcast? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. We certainly haven't watched anything with Nicole Kidman and Christopher Eccleston in it.
Okay.
2001, Nicole Kidman, Christopher Eccleston in nowhere near as big a part. So, here is the plot synopsis. The screen sensation Nicole Kidman delivers an utterly unforgettable performance in this scary and stylish suspense thriller. While awaiting her husband's return from war, Grace and her 2 young children live an unusually isolated existence behind the locked doors and drawn curtains of a secluded island mansion. Then, after 3 mysterious servants arrive and it becomes chillingly clear that there is far more to this house than can be seen, Grace finds herself in a terrifying fight to save her children and keep her sanity. Acclaimed by critics everywhere, the unpredictable twists and turns of this compelling hit will keep you guessing as it keeps you riveted to the edge of your seat.
Well, unlike everything else in the room, I'm not buzzing.
No. Next week, we're watching The Others.
Right.
And he's still got a blank look on his face, so it doesn't mean anything to him, so we shall have to wait.
Got like sort of a weird title treatment on the cover. Yeah, sort of like that. That's about all I know about the film.
Again, for our video podcast, I'm just showing the audience. There we go. All right. Next week, we're watching The Others. We hope that you can join us, but until then, we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
You have been listening to Cellulose Free. Your hosts were Colin, who produces and edits the show, and Thomas, who makes the artwork and music. Cellulose Free is recorded in the Deranged Cat Studios in scenic Tasmania, Australia. We keep track of our extensive physical media collection through My Movies, which we highly recommend. You can find links to that, as well as other places you can find us, in the show notes. Cellulose Free is a Hi Hello production.
Hopefully I can train my stomach. My goodness.
Spaghetti.
Yeah. It's the garlic. Yeah. I'm stopping.